Hello everyone! For my book presentation today, I chose to present The Mitten. Now The Mitten falls into the category of traditional literature. This is an old Ukrainian folktale, and this one was retold by Jim Aylesworth and illustrated by Barbara McClintock. Traditional literature, as we are learning this week, usually falls into several different categories. First of all, traditional literature is usually hundreds of years old, even older, I believe up to thousands of years old as we read in the lesson, and that it is usually passed down generation to generation by word of mouth and sometimes written down. It also falls into either the picture book category or the fantasy category, and this book happens to fall into both. It is a picture book because the illustrations really help tell the story, and it is a fantasy book because even though it takes place in this world, the things that happen in this book could not happen in their life. So to start out, the book begins, once upon a time, there was a happy little boy who loved to play. Yes, he did. And you can see him playing in all the different seasons. In the fall, he's jumping in the leaves. In the spring, he's climbing a tree. In the summer, he's playing with butterflies. And then in the winter, he's playing in the snow. Every winter, because she loved him, the little boy's grandmother would knit a great warm woolen hat that he could pull down over his little ears, a long woolen scarf that he could wrap 2 times around his little neck, and a pair of warm woolen mittens for his little hands. And you can see him here, all bundled up in all of the wonderful things his grandmother knit for him. And he would go outside and play. And one time while he was playing, he happened to lose one of his mittens. So, what happens to that mitten? Well, it's very cold outside, and it's not cold just to the little boy, it's cold to all the little animals out there. And so a squirrel happens upon the mitten that he left lying in the snow, and it gets inside and it gets all snuggled up and warm. But that squirrel is not alone, and I love this picture. You can see that rabbit staring at the squirrel, poking his head around the corner like, what's going on over here? So the rabbit asks the squirrel if he can get in and make room for him so that he can get warm and out of the cold. And it goes on, one by one, little woodland creatures come out to that squirrel in his mitten and ask if they can climb inside and get out of the cold. And eventually, it gets to the point where it is no longer a little mitten, it is full. We have a bear, a squirrel, you can see the picture, I don't know what I'm doing here with my camera, there we go. A bear, a squirrel, a fox, and a rabbit all stuffed inside this little mitten, and it is stretched out. But that's not all. You can see there's a little mouse coming along. And so the little mouse asks if he can get in too. Now, is there room for the little mouse? Do the other creatures let him in? And does the little boy ever find out what happens to his beloved mitten? You will have to check it out yourself and see how the story ends. It is one of my favorites. And I thought about some activities that you could do to engage children in the story. And with older children, I thought it might be fun since the grandmother knit all of these things for the little boy. You could teach them how to do finger knitting with some yarn. I loved learning how to do that when I was a little girl. And then I thought of a fun activity to do with some younger children. You can take an old mitten, and you can take a favorite stuffed animal, and you can see if you can fit that favorite stuffed animal inside the mitten. I have a dog in the mitten. And let's see, let's take another favorite stuffed animal. Can we fit them inside too? I think it's gonna work. Okay, so we have a dog and half a cat inside. I thought this would be a fun activity. Kids can see how many of their favorite toys they can get to fit inside one little mitten. Thank you so much for watching. Go check out this book. I highly recommend it. Have a good one.